Even if you say that the public aren't that invested or care particularly that much in a reshuffle, how do they feel that the Labour Party is faring right now? We had that sort of turbulence in the polls over the last fortnight and the sleaze scandal. Is it an opportunity for Keir Starmer to actually generate some traction?
I would say this entire period of time as I would have said up until a couple of days ago that this entire period of time as we move out of the most serious phase of the coronavirus pandemic provides an opportunity for a fresh start for Keir Starmer to really begin to talk about the kind of issues that the public traditionally in normal, quote unquote, normal times is interested in. So the economy, taxation, education, immigration, and so on and so forth. And it may be those areas where Keir Starmer and his team are able to get traction. But it could also be the case that with the new variant of the coronavirus, attention returns to the pandemic. And the situation that we've seen up until very recently has been the case that the government's perceived handling of the pandemic has correlated very closely with their popularity. And there's been effectively very little that the opposition, Keir Starmer or anyone else within his shadow cabinet, has been able to make in terms of inroads because of that. The long-term trend that we've seen over the last few months in the polls has been a narrowing of the Conservative lead. Until now, they're effectively neck and neck, Labour and the Conservatives. And so Labour will hope that this reshuffle will offer the opportunity to build on that momentum and perhaps to establish a lasting lead over the Conservatives. But as I say, the situation on the ground with coronavirus and the recent developments with the Omicron variant may make that more difficult than they had hoped.
Joe, you say no household names, but actually the likes of Yvette Cooper, Lisa Nandy, David Lammy, they're out there, and as attack dogs against a Conservative front bench, they could be quite effective.
Yes, I would agree. I think that they are if you like, the strongest players that Keir Starmer has in his squad. And I think that Yvette Cooper has shown over years that she has the capability, and similarly David Lammy is a popular figure within the party and very experienced. And so going up against Liz Truss and Priti Patel in their respective positions will create interesting dynamics, not least in the House of Commons. But that doesn't mean that they are the type of people who are well known in households up and down the country. Now, don't get me wrong, there are very few politicians actually who are household names. And the situation is always difficult for shadow cabinets at the best of times, and these are far from the best of times with so much attention on the government and its dealing with the pandemic up until now. And so, as I say, I think that Labour would hope is the start of the next phase of their role in opposition. But they may find that they have to wait a few months yet if the new coronavirus variant does start to dominate the headlines and the public consciousness in the way that the coronavirus has up until this point.